YouTube, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video we have a 4 Series convertible with some suspension damage. So right now I'm going to go ahead and raise the car up and show you guys what we're working with today. Alright guys, so I went ahead and raised the car up, and now you can see all the damage here. All of the axle grease everywhere. Very bad. So right off the bat you can see that the strut right there went through the steering knuckle, the control arm. So we're going to go ahead and replace the knuckle along with the wheel bearing, the axle, the steering rack, lower control arm, this arm here, as well as the thrust rod arm. I'll just give you guys a little sneak peek here. You can see that the axle completely came out of the front differential there. It's just leaking all over. Then on top of that, we are also going to be straightening out the wheel, which you guys saw me do on the Type R. So basically guys, we're going to be tearing apart and replacing this whole corner besides the brakes. We're going to go ahead and disconnect all of the wiring, which I've already started, the wheel speed sensor, the brake pad wear sensor. I think that's it as far as wiring goes. Pull the caliper off, pull the rotor off, and I'm just going to leave everything connected on this end. I'll release from up here, release from the subframe, and then we'll just pull this whole corner out as one piece. Then once this is out, I'll go ahead and do the same to the other side. Just remove the arms from the control arms, or from the subframe side, excuse me. That way we can lower the subframe and I can replace the steering rack. But this is most likely going to spread into 2 days, so for today I'm going to go ahead and get started and drop as much as I can until the point where I stop at, because we do not have the steering wheel or the steering rack in stock as of right now. It was supposed to come in this morning, but it has not yet. So that's what we're gonna do. So stay tuned. I'm gonna go ahead and try and get some GoPro footage for that right now as well. I don't know why I thought I could catch that, because obviously I couldn't. Alright guys, so just like that, this whole corner is out. Got the caliper hanging up. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and remove the shock, because we are going to reuse the spring, but we are replacing the shock. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the shock from the actual arm, compress, remove the spring, get the new spring onto the new shock. I'll show you guys a little bit of that once I go ahead and do that. And then once I get this back together, I'll leave it off for the car for now and get started on dropping the subframe. Moving on, the insurance adjuster wanted to start with just the left front axle for right now, but looking at it, this thing was completely shot. I'm not sure if the diff is shot as well. I have a bunch of metal shavings in the oil there, as you can see. Moving on, I went ahead and removed the strut out of the knuckle over there. So we're gonna go ahead and replace the strut like I spoke about. This corner is good to go. So now I'm gonna go ahead and drop all these arms off of this corner of the subframe, place the engine up, and then lower the subframe so we can get to the steering rack. This has got sketchy written all over it. Alright guys, subframe is dropped as you saw in that previous clip there. So the motor is pretty much hanging up with the hoist. It's probably about the sketchiest thing. I'll show you guys once I go ahead and lower the car back down as well. You can see this is all plenty of room. So now we're gonna go ahead and replace the steering rack once that comes in. So after replacing that, we also have to program it and obviously perform the four-wheel alignment. So we're gonna continue on this project tomorrow. What's going on, guys? It is now the following morning. All of my parts have came in. New strut, new control arm / knuckle, new wheel bearing, new lower control arm, new tie rod end, stabilizer end link. We got all of our hardware in there, new left front axle, and then most importantly over here is the new steering rack. So I think right now I'm going to go ahead and knock out the replacement of the shock absorber, and that way we can put the left front corner all back together, and then I'll leave it apart for now. It'll be easier to get the subframe back up. Then once the subframe is back up and everything's dropped down, I'll go ahead and tackle the left front corner. So right now, let's hop over to the vise and take care of the shock. Alright guys, old shock absorber is torn down. I'm going to be swapping over the boot as well as the cup. This is the old guide. This is now garbage. And now new one. I don't know why it was on the floor. I guess I was comparing the two when I had it on the floor. Now let's go ahead and toss the new one on. like that, we're good. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and replace the steering rack, and just like that, the new rack is in. subframe is back up. So let's go ahead and start putting everything back together. Some more GoPro and time lapse. Let's go. Fast forward to about 3 o'clock now. I started working on everything and putting it back together around 1 o'clock, I want to say. So about 2.5 hours later, corner's back together, subframe's back up, steering rack is in. If you guys remember what the corner looked like before, this is it. The steering rack, new tie rod in, thrust rod ended up getting swapped over, new lower control arm, new end link for the stabilizer. Everything looks good. I'm straightening the wheel now. Once I go ahead and get the car back on the ground, I'm going to go ahead and check all my bolts on the top again, and the steering rack has to be programmed. Here is the finished product. Again, like I said earlier, I am going to have to program the steering rack, but it is all set and done right now. The wheel is straightened. Everything is good to go. Everything's tightened up here on the top side. This corner is completely redone. So when I come in on Friday morning, I'm going to go ahead and perform that full wheel alignment, and she should be good to go. With that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close out the video right here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys are interested in seeing some more footage like this, please make sure to leave a comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe, share the channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out.